future. Mercedes-Benz Future Talks, right here, right now, with Mercedes-Benz Taiwan.
Have you ever had the feeling that something was just right? You knew it without understanding. You understood it without knowing. That feeling called intuition is always there, trying to steer you into the right direction. Sometimes it's easy to hear, but sometimes you really have to listen closely. Mercedes-Benz uses intuition to sense your needs before you even have them, making connections that transform your car into a digital companion, creating ease that gives you more time for the important things in life, providing comfort by ensuring your safety and security, and boosting up the endless power of electric drive. Our aim is to merge products, technologies, and services into a seamless ecosystem of mobility solutions, dedicated to your future. Mercedes-Benz.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and hello to the friends who are watching us live on our Facebook fan pages. Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz Future Talks. We're so excited here at the Mercedes-Benz Mobility of the Future. I'm your MC today. My name is Rebecca. We're right now, wow, so many people here today at the 2018 Taipei International Auto Show, right here at Nangang Exhibition Center. If you're watching us online, you can come join us tomorrow. Okay, we have another forum tomorrow. But now, I have to introduce the forum today. This is the second day of our Future Talks. We will focus on the evolution of mobility. And in the beginning, I would like to introduce our CEO of Mercedes-Benz Taiwan, Mr. Eckhard Meyer. He will tell you that the future is no longer a vision, it is right in front of you. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO, Mr. Eckhard Meyer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rebecca. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the second day of our Mercedes-Benz Future Talks. In addition to showing our entire product or almost entire product portfolio here today, we actually wanted to go a little bit further and have also invited a number of high-level keynote speakers and panelists today here for the Future Talks to discuss and exchange a few ideas about some technology trends that are going to change our life. So the core theme of our booth here is mobility of the future, which already clearly indicates that automotive is not just about cars anymore. It is rather about shaping the future of mobility for the benefit of society overall. With our Mercedes-Benz Future Talks, we intend to share how the four pillars of our case strategy that stands for connected, for autonomous, for shared and services, and for e-mobility will actually redefine the mobility around the globe. Yesterday, we already had a very inspirational talk and panel discussion about connectivity. If you have missed it, please visit our Facebook fan page for the complete broadcast. There you can still see it. And today is about the evolution of mobility. We will have a panel discussion with some entrepreneurs who have built their business around the shared economy. But before this, let's talk e-mobility. In many countries, we already witness a very strong push towards electric cars. And this, of course, needs to go hand in hand with the required charging infrastructure as a crucial enabler. What some of you probably do not know is that the global leader for charging station management system is actually a company right here from Taiwan. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to introduce to you Mr. R.T. Tsai, the Vice President Corporate from Delta Electronics. Mr. Tsai has been with Delta for many years, including a number of overseas assignments, and he is currently responsible for international affairs and business development. So please join me to welcome Mr. Arti Tsai here on stage to electrify us. Mr. Tsai.
Welcome, Mr. Tsai.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. It's a great honor this afternoon to report on the energy efficient, especially in the energy efficient and transportation and green building. So that will be the three topics I'm going to mention about and share all the experience with you in this afternoon. Ever since 1971, right from the beginning, Delta already set up our own corporate mission, that is to provide innovative, clean, and energy efficient solutions for a better tomorrow. And this is one of the projects that we have done a few years ago. This is probably the largest energy efficient power plant in the world at this moment. So we participate in this project. As you can see, we provide many of the new technologies, automation, industrial automation, and networking, etc. So with such kind of the power efficiency that can bring a better life for the people. And this is one of the projects we have done in Japan. And this is owned by Delta. It's a so-called green park. In the mountainside, we installed more than 4 megawatts of the solar energy. And we do have a lot of experience that can share in Taiwan market, because 2/3 of Taiwan land occupied by the mountain. So this is a typical case we already done in Japan. Not only the solar energy system, but with this site, we have our own energy storage system solution. So this is one of the containers we made. And this is the PV inverter that is the core business of Delta. So this is one of very good solution for the energy storage solution we made in battery field. And another experience that we can share with you, that is this is one of the projects we done in Europe. This is in Denmark. So you can see this site is phase 1, and they have another phase 2. Total together over 70 megawatts, and they're using an airport nearby. So this is one of the projects we done for Denmark. And talking about the energy saving in building, that they have a report about 1/3 of the total energy consumption that is from the building. So we would like to share how to do energy saving in the building field. So in the past few years, we already built up more than 25 the green building in the world. And we can share the most energy efficient solutions to the public. So you can see this is the first zero carbon building we built for a campus. And if you are interested about the detail, please go to Discovery Channel. They have one complete record report. And another typical case, 2 years ago, we just finished. We designed a net zero energy building in United States, and it's already achieved in the past July to the net zero energy. And in this site, they do have installed with a geothermal solution in this one. And in Kaohsiung, in south of Taiwan, they also have another net zero energy campus. If you do have an interest, you can pay a visit to U.S. National Geographic Broadcasting. They already introduced this solution over more than 40 countries before. So Delta has been selected by Dow Jones for a sustainable index. And we are also ranked in the Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP, at the Climate Change Leadership Label ever since 2014. And talking about another transportation, they do have another report that 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emission that is consumed by the automotive market, especially 70% of the gas consumption in United States that is belong to the automotive market. So Delta is fulfilled in the future for the electric car coming. So by 2050, that we prepared the EV charging station around the world already. So in 7 years ago, we found they have an automotive show in Los Angeles. We found in this car, they do have a Delta inside. So this is one of the solutions that we provide for smart car. And not only that, in today, we also provide many of the thermal solutions, like the DC fan for many of the automotive. So you can see this is one of the examples we provide in the car industry. And this is the typical case we have. So another one for the new technology. So they have many, more than 15 items we already launched and installed in the future car. In the past, more than 131 years ago, when people they get used to the wagon, the people afraid that the engine car is coming. The same situation in today, for the future car, the end user now in today, all the driver also have the same feeling. We are afraid what kind of the new car is coming, what kind of impact in our daily life. So maybe later we can discuss more the e-mobility for our future life. So this is one of the solutions we prepared for the EV solution. So from this chart, you can see we already launched and provide many of the key parts, not only for the EV industrial, but also for the EV charging. So this video that you can imagine our future, what will be for the EV coming. So this is all the EV charging stations we provide today for the industrial market. And this one is for garage use. And we're talking about a lot of connective yesterday. And this is one kind of solution that can link the EV charging in the future, not only for your home, your garage, but also the public parking space, etc. So this is the best solution we provide in today for the automotive EV charging stations. Year of 2015, we think public transportation could be a very good idea for the car sharing and carbon reduce. So this is one of the examples. We provide the EV charging for a city bus in Milano, year of 2015. And in mainland China, we also provide that kind of solution for the public transportation. And in the future, we hope we can cooperate with the truck using the battery management system. Delta in today, we do have our own battery solution. And I think later we will show you all the different climate temperature conditions. We already have one successful case in Europe. So this is one of the examples that we would like to share with all of you. And this one is the first charging station Delta built in Thailand. So this is the first charging station in Bangkok. And in Taiwan, a few years ago, we already installed the charging station for the EV cars in Taiwan market. This is in Samong Lake. Maybe most of you already been there. So I would like to share these three topics: energy efficient in the renewable energy, and then green building and transportation. I think these three topics that can bring a future better tomorrow. So let's work together for a smarter, greener future life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tsai, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you. And Mr. Maya, would you like to share your feedback with the audience and also to Mr. Tsai? Yeah, please join us back to the stage for the dialogue and for further discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Tsai. That was actually quite interesting. I have been in Taiwan now for some time. I know Delta Electronics is a big player and a big partner for automotive industry, but it was still very insightful to also understand the overall vision and mission of Delta to really contribute to a better tomorrow, addressing two of the core issues when it comes to carbon emissions, being houses and transport. I think when you said 1/3 is for autos, I think it's the transport sector overall. Probably also includes ships and planes and whatsoever. So that was actually very interesting. So since we are here at Taipei International Auto Show, let's focus obviously a bit more on e-mobility when it comes to cars. And from what I have seen, and this was just a few examples that you have picked, I mean, Delta is a global player or actually the leader, yeah, in building up this kind of charging infrastructure. So based on the experience that your company has gained now on different continents, in the Americas, in Europe, in Asia, what are the, let's say, key lessons that you have learned, yeah, that would be important when it comes to also building up charging infrastructure and making e-mobility more popular here in Taiwan? What have been the key challenges, yeah, and how can they be overcome? So would be great if you could share a few of those learnings with the audience here and on the Facebook page.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Especially thank you for your good words about Delta. In Taiwan, although we are a small market, but I think the EV cars is already coming, because by the end of 2050, most of the country will be forced all the automotive that would be the EV charging car, electric car. Mm-hmm. So in Taiwan, I think the policy maker, the lawmaker, they have to stress the future car is coming. So the government, that they are willing to support for the environmental, especially in Taiwan, we selling lots of car before, and the new car just this last year is exception. They have more than around 440,000 cars selling, but still has a large old car on the road. So I think if the government, they can support the infrastructure, like today in newspaper, the government, they encourage the China Petroleum gas station and some other scooter maker that they can install the charging stations or swap the battery. I think that would be good for the future.
Okay, apart from the infrastructure setup, any other important learnings from overseas? What about consumer acceptance or concerns?
Yes. Okay, the consumer always hesitate, and they are looking for who is buying the electric car, their experience. So I think experience sharing, that is very important.
Okay.
Okay.
Question from you into my direction, maybe?
The direction, I think, that is dependent on the government. That if they want to do, I think that is very easy to achieve.
Okay. I mean, you just mentioned hesitant, you just mentioned consumer. I guess some of you might also wonder, yeah, why Mercedes-Benz has no electric cars available in Taiwan yet. I mean, if you look here to this side, this will be our first plug-in hybrid to be launched into Taiwan towards end of 2018, the S560e plug-in hybrid. Yeah. The reason I think why we are probably a little bit late in this regard is not that we do not have the technology. Our company has worked on this and other future-oriented technologies like fuel cell for a long time. But one of the crucial elements that we have seen over and over again is you also need to find the right timing when to introduce a technology into the market. Yeah, so one concern you already mentioned, of course, is the charging infrastructure. Yeah, if a customer buys such a car, he or she needs to be sure that when you drive somewhere further away and are not at home, you still have a chance to charge your vehicle and you do not get stuck somewhere 200 kilometers away from home. The other big challenge, of course, is when you have these new technologies, they advance at such a high speed, that if you really come too early to the market, the first people who buy it, they might actually invest into a technology that 1 or 2 years later is totally outdated. And for us, as the #1 premium brand, our customers, of course, have very, very high expectations about what kind of technology, what kind of cars we give to them. Also when it comes to the vehicles keeping their value. So therefore, we took a little bit longer, but I'm actually very proud to say that is internationally, in the meantime, we have one of the broadest portfolios of all car manufacturers. We have 8 plug-in hybrid vehicles in our portfolio, including both sedans and SUVs, and we will bring a lot of more electric vehicles, pure electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids onto the road over the next years. And of course also to Taiwan as soon and whenever we think the market and the consumers are ready. This brings us back a little bit to the infrastructure topic. You mentioned already that government should also support this, and I just read last night that Premier Lai announced that by 2040 all cars or in Taiwan should be electric. So 2040 is still relatively far away, but on the other hand, I think we all agree we don't want until 2040 to make Taiwan greener, to bring the more advanced technologies here onto the road and to our consumers. So in this regards, I believe that the building up of infrastructure is probably not only a government issue. I think it's maybe a joint effort that needs to be done. Where also Taipower needs to play a role, where suppliers and Taiwanese companies like Delta can also play an important role. So can you maybe share a little bit what you think should be done here in Taiwan to get, let's say, a decent infrastructure covering the entire island ready as soon as possible, so that not only Mercedes, but when you look around here at Taipei Auto Show, a lot of brands present either electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids. I believe the industry is ready. The cars are there. But as you mentioned, out of the 440,000 vehicles sold in Taiwan last year, maybe around 1,000 were electric or plug-in hybrid. So very small proportion. What needs to happen to get the infrastructure going?
Okay. Thank you for your explanation. Why Mercedes-Benz that is launch the electric car date in Taiwan market. But after your explanation, the only thing I can say is thanks for being late. The infrastructure in Taiwan, I already saw some of the electric car available in the Taiwan market. A small question back to you. Do you have any intention to build up the faster charging station together with everyone in Taiwan market?
I think this is a very important question. When it comes to charging infrastructure, it is obviously not only about having a charging station. Initially, when e-mobility started, the first models, it took like 8 hours, 10 hours to charge them. This clearly is not what our customers are looking for. In the meantime, there is, and I think you have this also in your portfolio, there is of course charging solutions, quick charging solutions that are a lot faster, and looking at the development in both battery as well as charging technology, we can all expect that these charging times will continue to come down, especially for our customers, premium car buyers. For them, time is very precious.
Yes.
They don't want to waste their time waiting until the car is at least half charged so they can move again. In this regards, I think what you just mentioned, the call from government there, for example, to CPC, but also the idea to build up charging infrastructure at some convenience stores and so on makes absolute sense. And we as Mercedes-Benz, not sure if all of you know, in Germany, for example, all the big car brands together, we have committed to also contribute and to support building up a high-speed charging infrastructure to make e-mobility happen. On the other hand, what we also know from overseas experience is consumers are hesitant, and also technologies like building not only a very modern combustion engine, but also an electric engine into a plug-in hybrid, of course, is pretty expensive, a lot more expensive than a normal car. So for this reason, most countries that have successfully introduced e-mobility, let's take Norway, take Denmark, they have put, and also China, they have put subsidy schemes in place for both electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids to really accelerate this transition from traditional combustion engine towards e-mobility. And here in Taiwan, we currently only have a commodity tax subsidy in place for pure electric vehicles. We believe if we really want to have a fast impact of plug-in hybrid technologies, it would definitely make sense to also include the plug-in hybrid technology in such subsidy schemes. Maybe last question from my side. When you talk about e-mobility, of course these cars produce zero emissions, so locally zero emissions. But if you want to evaluate how environmentally friendly this technology really is, you also need to look how the electricity has been produced. So these cars are only really super clean if the electricity also comes from sustainable energy sources, and we are very, very happy that Taiwan government is now pushing a lot into sustainable energy like wind and solar power. And I think it's very good to see that Delta also plays a role there. I saw this huge solar park there from the United States. Based on your experience, last summer or every year, I think we have a problem that electricity supply in Taiwan gets very, very thin. The supply can hardly cope with the demand. So one question, of course, that we ask ourselves, if in 2 years we want to plug in 50,000 vehicles to be charged, is actually the electricity grid ready for it? So maybe there again you can share a little bit of experience. First, how do other markets deal with it, and what do you think will happen in Taiwan in order to overcome this possible roadblock here for e-mobility?
Okay. I just mentioned last year, August 15th, a lot of people, they never forget a nightmare that is electricity shutdown.
Yes.
So people in today, they still concerned where is the power electricity came from. So I just mentioned we should using different concept for the electric car charging. I just mentioned the green building is one of the best solution for energy efficient transportation. This car, electric vehicle, is another good option in the future. But if we know how to do energy saving, that we don't have to build up more power plants. Because I just mentioned, 1/3 energy consumption is belong to transportation. Another 1/3 power consumption is related to the building. So if we can do very good way to save the energy, then we don't have to worry about where is electricity came from at this moment. So it will be a smart way to handle our future for the new automotive, the new vehicle life coming. So I think energy saving is the key, especially in our daily life, not only for the public transportation and in daily life. We using different concept of the power consumption. So actually, we don't in our field, we don't worry about that we don't have enough power to come from if we know how to do energy saving. So another way is the renewable energy. I think if we can build up more renewable energy in Taiwan, that could be also to reduce the end user understanding the power. So no matter how long and how hard the road it will be, I think energy efficient, energy saving, that is the mission that everyone have to do. And the electric car, that is a future car. And actually, the timing is coming. So we cannot ignore at this moment. Thank you.
Excellent. I think this sounds like a very good closing remark. Mr. Tsai, thank you very much for joining us and for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
I think if I can just quickly wrap up this topic, I think you mentioned one very important topic here. Yeah, apart from all the advancements in technology.
Yes.
At the end, I think it is each and every one of us who can make a difference. Yeah, to be a bit more aware, to educate also our children. Yeah, about what they can do when it comes to energy saving. So let's not wait for government. I think each of us can do a little bit, in order to achieve greener and smarter Taiwan. And let's work closely together to achieve this. Thank you very much, Mr. Tsai.
Thank you, Mr. Tsai, and thank you, Mr. Meyer, for the dialogue. And I believe we have, please stay on the stage. We have prepared the special gift. Oh, over there. Okay. Yeah, so. Yeah, this is the special gift prepared by Mercedes-Benz Taiwan. And hopefully we'll have a greener future, of course. We have to do it by ourselves from Little's daily life. So everyone can actually help to save our environment, and maybe we can have a greener future. It is actually possible. And thank you, Mr. Tsai. And please, thank you, Mr. Meyer. Please take your seats. Thank you. Please take your seats first, and we will proceed to the panel discussion in a bit. So hopefully you have learned a lot about, the future mobility and how to have a greener future through the keynote speech presented to you by Mr. Tsai, and also from the dialogue from Mr. Tsai and Mr. Meyer. And now we will actually proceed to the panel discussion, which will bring you more inspiring and fruitful ideas about the future mobility. So now, we're setting up this panel discussion, which will be about 15 minutes long, because we have invited experts in different industries all together here at Mercedes-Benz Mobility of the Future booth. So right now, I would like to proceed to the panel discussion。那现在呢，我们要进行的就是我们的专题讨论。那现在呢，这一次的专题讨论的主题呢，就是我们的交通进化论。
Have you ever asked yourself what the future of mobility will look like? We have, and we continue to do so every day. With CASE as part of the corporate strategy of Daimler AG, we combined the four main trends of future mobility: connected, autonomous, shared and services, and electric. In a series of short films, we give you a quick overview of our broad range of intelligent mobility solutions and our vision of the future. We will keep you posted, be part of our journey, and experience intuitive mobility.
Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
All right, now I would like to invite the panelists to the stage. First of all, please welcome our speaker, Vice President of Delta Electronic, Mr. R.T. Tsai, again, back to the stage to join the panel discussion. And also the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Mercedes-Benz Taiwan, Mr. Marcus Hanna. Welcome again. And CEO of Waymo Scooter, Mr. Jeffrey Wu. Welcome, Mr. Wu.
Hi, Jeffrey.
And CEO of Taxigo, Mr. Kevin Chen. Welcome, Mr. Kevin Chen. And Business Weekly chief writer, Ms. Xu Tan. Welcome, Ms. Tan. And also the facilitator of the panel discussion, Mr. Jason Wan, the digital content editor-in-chief at Business Weekly. Welcome all panelists, and also welcome our facilitator. Now I would like to hand over to Jason.
Nice to meet you.
Have a seat, please.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Unlike yesterday, there are 6 of us gentlemen here, and today we have a fair lady here. She's my colleague, Kiri. She's the very seasoned reporters engaged on the high-tech sectors for, I can say the years, the numbers of years. I cannot say the number of years. They will guess your age. So actually, today we have 2 topics to deal with. First is sharing. The other one is electric cars and new energy vehicle, which is in the coming futures. And I think my first question also goes to Marcus. And we know that Mercedes-Benz is a car manufacturer for over 100 years. And why you highlight or honor the sharing as the pillars for the mobility revolution in the coming future. Could you explain your strategy, your plans in our, give me a scenario that Mercedes will bring to us in the coming futures?
Absolutely, thank you for that question. I think sharing is caring, as we like to say. So really globally, we've been investing in a lot of startups and really looking into more sharing concepts, because in the end, it gives us a chance to bring more people into our cars, because they will share them. So one of the projects that has been really a global pioneer in it is the car to go, which is together with our smart car in a lot of cities. And it really brings a lot of people into the cars that otherwise probably never would drive a Mercedes or drive a Smart. So why we think that this maybe will sell one car now that is going to be shared by people who've been driving more than one car before. Maybe they haven't been driving a Mercedes or a smart car. So for us, it's a chance to make the world a better place, to make transport more efficient. But at the same time, it's free marketing and free test drives. So more people with their friends, with their family, with people they trust will get into a car and see, hey, this is not a bad car. and maybe we will in the end even sell more cars even there they're sharing. I think that's the whole idea of a shared economy and why we invest and really look into those projects. It's really been very successful for us.
Do you afraid that for sharing economy will disrupt your existing business as a car manufacturer?
It definitely already disrupted our business, but I think disruption is nothing to be afraid of. We really got the best product, so I think it's more an opportunity to get more people into the car and any kind of disruption. And we will come to that later on the second topic with e-mobility with our friends from Tesla. Any kind of disruption, I think, is very welcome from the brands that are really leading in their industry.
Yeah, very nice to hear that. And we also invited two sharing economy service provider here. And I think some next question goes to Jeffrey. And I know you established your own business on the scooter sharing, right?
Yes.
And I'm just wondering is that there's already tons of scooters in Taiwan, right? Mm-hmm. There's Taiwan's crowded with scooters, and we see a lot of scooters on the streets. Why, in that circumstances, you still want to build a business like scooter sharing? We have our own scooters. Should we share our scooter to other else? Or on what circumstances, or why do you want to build such a scooter sharing economies in Taiwan? Could you elaborate?
So first of all, with regards to sharing of individual vehicles, we found that that's actually quite difficult for the audience in Taiwan. So we actually decided that we wanted to build our own fleets. And then I guess you could call it a share economy, but of course we're pretty much a rental business where we provide on-demand services, electrical scooters for the audience of Taiwan, or particularly right now we're still only in Taipei. Right? And the reason, as you mentioned, everyone in Taiwan has a vehicle already. Why do we still think this is a good business opportunity and what we're trying to achieve? Right? So even though there's a lot of electric scooters scooters in Taiwan already, a lot of them are actually already very, very old or outdated. The average age of vehicles in scooters vehicles in Taiwan is over 10 years old. Right. So you can imagine there's vehicles that's 15, 20 years old that's still running in the streets of Taiwan, and they're actually very polluted. Right? And there's the reason why people don't actually want to buy new vehicles. I mean, for some, actually buying a vehicle is still very expensive. And if they have their old and existing one, why won't they continue to use it? This is one of the issues that's happening in Taiwan. Another is, of course, the government is pushing towards having more public transportation, having people adopt stop using private vehicle ownership, because our cities are only going to be more and more crowded. City size will change, but people keep wanting to live in cities. Right? So in Taipei particularly, there's already a good size of people that is adopted public transportation. About 30% of the people are actually frequent public transportation users. But then at the same time, they do miss the convenience that a private vehicle would bring to them. And that's where sharing comes. I mean, earlier you mentioned that you bring more vehicles, more people into your vehicles. It's the same thing, right? There's already people that stop purchasing private vehicles, but they still enjoy the private vehicles convenience. Then what do they do? So we're providing them a low-cost solution for them to using this share service, and also electrical share services, which I believe electrification and share services is supposed to go hand in hand. It's the new trend, and it's supposed to bring to a better world, right? So, we still believe with these two trends that's happening, a share service in a city like Taiwan or Taipei, I mean, still has its potential. And of course, to other cities that's also very crowded, very, very heavy traffic congested, and also pushing for a more people using public transportation and more green transportation.
How Taiwan's people like your business?
But we're
How's this going?
So we're a relatively new startup. We've only been in existence for 2 years, and we only started our service about a year ago. we currently
how many scooters do you have right
We currently have 1,000 scooters.
1,000?
So in a city where there's about 2 million scooters, it's still a very small size.
Right.
But we're pushing hard, and we currently have about 25,000 users,
okay.
and we have about 50,000 rides a month.
Are
and
they
that's still
students
increasing.
or just ordinary people?
Actually, we have a very diverse group of people using our service. Our range goes from 18 years old to all the way to about 40 years old. Of course, the younger generation is still more acceptance of our service because this is the mobile phone age, right? So our service is entirely based on having a mobile phone. If you don't have the mobile phone, our service don't exist, right? Because you have to be able to have the control of vehicles that's parked anywhere in the street anytime. So we utilize the technology for them to use the mobile phone and turn on any vehicle in the streets. Very similar to a car-to-go model, right? So the audience or our target audience have to be very used to using a phone, and that's usually the younger generation.
Right.
But the reason they use our service is very diverse. For some of the people, they don't have their own vehicle, so for whenever there's a trip or a need to go to a place that's not very convenient with public transportation, then they would choose to use our service.
Right.
Or when public transportation is out, like midnight, there's no more bus, there's no more MRT, then a lot of people will start using our service.
Okay. Let's leave the electric vehicles later, and I want to ask the Kevin first that other than the scooters, and you do the business taxi business, right? How different of your business from the traditional co-op taxi group, and what your ideas about to initiate the business? Because the Uber has been banned in Taiwan, and how the taxi goes in Taiwan. Could you share your ideas to our audience?
So we started early last year in 2017, and then one of the key reasons we started was that Uber was getting banned by the government, and then we actually saw an opportunity in Taiwan. Because currently, traditional taxi companies only own around 20 to 30% of the market, and around 40 to 60% of the drivers are individuals. So they don't have any dispatch system.
Okay.
So when we saw Uber leaving, we was like, what else can we use to order a taxi? So we started TaxiGo, and we wanted to bring this ride-hailing technology to all the taxi drivers in Taiwan. So we launched it around like January, and then we started recruiting drivers, and then up to July, we recruited around 2,500 drivers, and up to now, we already have like 5,000 drivers using our platform.
Right. I've learned that one of those specials for your service, we don't have to download a specific app, right?
Right.
You just embed it or attach your service with Line, which is quite new in Taiwan.
Right. So when we launched last year, we were looking at the industry trends, and we see that like driving app downloads is getting much more expensive. Then Line and Facebook both launched this chatbot services on their platform. So we start integrating and testing out these services, and it's actually much cheaper for us to acquire new users. We decided to not develop an app for users. We just push our services through Line and Facebook Messenger. So, and another key issue that we try to solve in Taiwan is that mobile payment is still not really common in Taiwan. Whereas, for example, in mainland China, everyone is paying for their taxi fare using Alipay or WeChat Pay. But in Taiwan, it's still mainly cash-based. So when we develop our services, we actually build in our online payment service within the driver app. So the driver don't need to install any credit card swiping devices. They just need to input the trip fare in the app, and then on the user side, you can decide whether you want to pay with your own credit card or you want to pay with line pay.
Okay. So I know that Kiri has reported a lot of inspiring stories about shared economy. Could you share with us, is there any Taiwan case which is worth to share? Or I know you went to China a lot, and could you share the things you observed to our audience, how the shared economy will go in the future?
Yes, I went to China a lot, and I found that if I want to call a taxi, I stand beside the road, you will never get a taxi. Just wave your hand, you can never get it.
Yeah, right.
So you have to use your app and to call a taxi. So I'm very thankful that in China there's Uber and Didi Chuxing, or I cannot move at the city.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Yes, but in Taiwan, actually, I think Jeffrey and Kevin will know better. The infrastructure for sharing mobility is not so good. For example, the payment, people still using the real money to pay, and people will say, why is it matter that you have to use like Alipay or WeChat? Why is it matter? Because it matter to many startups. They get profit from this the payment. So the first thing I think for the infrastructure that you want to build sharing economy startups is very challenging in Taiwan. So I'm really thinking this too. Entrepreneurship is
brave.
Yes, and
courageous.
Yes, but you can see the other side. For this is the demand side, I think. This is supply side. You see the demand side for younger people, and maybe for me, I'm not so young actually. Actually, I don't want a car anymore. If I have a sharing car, for example, car to go just nearby my home, and I can use U-bike, and if I can use just like Jeffrey's company service, e-scooter. Actually, I would like to give it a try. So why I have to have a vehicle if I can get it in a cheaper way and a reasonable way, and where I want and when I want it. So I think this is a trend, but Taiwan is. I think it's just very challenging. If everyone has a chance, you can go to China and even Southeast Asia, and they are very popular to using the sharing scooter and the sharing bike and the sharing cars. And I also mentioned that it's very important to develop the sharing economy because the meaning of the sharing economy is big data. When people using the car, actually through the app, you can record how he used the car and how he used the bike. That would change the city. If the big data, for example, Didi Chuxing, they have started to cooperate with the local city. They control the traffic light to avoid the rush hour time, to shorten the rush hour time.
Right.
So when we say the sharing economy, we only think about the startups, the unicorn company, but not actually. It's not. It will eventually affect the competitiveness of your city.
Right. Marcus,
I'd like to add on that because it's a very important point also for Jeffrey and Kevin. Is really about data, or about two sets of data. One is really the usage cases and the behavioral data to analyze it and to really make it more valuable for the customer. But the other one for you guys is to even know the customer. And I think in that sense, in the B2C segment, to have digital currencies and apps for booking systems, you're actually able to know your customer and to speak to them. And in that sense, I think Taiwan still has a huge development potential, which you guys can really capitalize on, because it's possible to really speak to each of those customers, where in a pure cash-based economy, you don't know who these guys are if they just get in a taxi and pay with cash and leave.
Now, RT, do you have something to say about shared economies, especially on behavior Delta's? Delta used to be a hardware provider, right? And right now I just saw your presentation that you also build the charging stations, and you moved from the hardware makers to service providers. And your observations about shared economies, we want to share from your thought with the audience and the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you. Just a few years ago, that the first time when Mr. Thomas Friedman, he visited Taiwan, he asked one question to us. Tom said, Taiwan used to great year of 1980. And what's next for Taiwan in the future?
The answer
is, we say that is from ICT, information technology,
right.
From IT to RT. It just happened. My name is RT. But this RT stands for renewable technology.
Right.
And now, in today, I think the ET is coming. ET stands for energy efficient, energy saving. Like the electrical car, that the timing is coming. Taiwan is very good for hardware before.
Yes.
And still in today,
still number one.
Yes, if we can link together in the automotive new market, I think that could be make the Taiwan great again. Am I right?
Yeah, make Taiwan great again.
So for sure, in today, if we can work together, go cleaner, go smarter, that would be bring us a better life.
Yeah.
So
there's slogans for running a president. So.
I wish. Okay. So I think in
make
today
Taiwan great again.
Yes.
Yes.
So we are talking about the energy saving. We're talking about the environmental protection. We're talking about the ecosystem in Taiwan. We should emphasize in this field. So this afternoon I share 3 topics. So the green building, the transportation. If we know we have a smart way to management, that we also can enjoy a better life.
Yes.
And we don't have to build up the power plants, right? So I think that is a habit to educate, to share with all the end user understanding.
Right. And yes, very good.
Thank
well
you.
said. And our second topic is electric cars. And I want to throw Marcus the questions that we just learned that Mercedes come late in Taiwan, and I think that the Mercedes-Benz has prepared, well prepared to do the e-mobility, right? And you share with me a lot of concept which Mercedes-Benz had. Could you share the rest of the world and our audience what the real things about the e-mobility? What the inside, what the ingredients of the e-mobility, which is Mercedes-Benz honor?
Yeah.
I think we're not late in Taiwan. I think we're on time. And we're very happy that Tesla also kickstarted this process more. For us, just in terms of our global launch scenario, we're taking our time. But that car that also Mr. Meyer mentioned, the S560e, will be our first plug-in hybrid. So for us, it's really a bridging technology on the way to full electric mobility.
Right.
And I believe, especially when we talk about sharing concepts, when we talk about public transport and also daily transport errands, it's really necessary to get there. The infrastructure needs to be there, but then I believe our product portfolio is ready in a very broad way. And that means not only the Mercedes-Benz cars, as you see the EQ car behind us, but also all over Daimler in terms of buses and trucks and vans, the e-Canter that is already running in some of the markets, our smart cars, so really all across. There's going to be a really very broad portfolio. We plan to have 10 cars in 2022 for Mercedes globally that are running full electric, 15 across all Daimler brands, and even some of those very sporty ones behind you from Mercedes-AMG, the performance cars. So all across the board, everything is getting ready for an electrified future. And now it's a little bit our homework here, together with all the stakeholders, to get the infrastructure ready, to get our homework done. And the other topic that was mentioned by URT and by Mr. Meyer before was really the consumer relevance and the consumer readiness for this product. And I think that we're really on a really good road. And to see that so many other brands are also talking about it at this very high standard, high level auto show this year, this will definitely help as well.
And I think when we talk about future cars, one argument which is frequently been mentioned is that what kind of energy should we use to power the vehicle, right? And we have hybrids and pure electricities, and we say fuel cells and other options. And could you tell us the Mercedes views on the energy choice on the future vehicle?
Definitely, we've seen that the battery capacities, the battery quality has been increasing a lot, and the technologies around the batteries have. And at the same time, there is a prediction of really much more affordable solutions for the future. So electric mobility will be one of the key pillars. Nevertheless, I believe with our position in the industry, we don't shut any doors. So we have been also working on the fuel cell car and on plug-in hybrids. So there's a lot of technologies that can run in parallel, really depending on how the infrastructure and how the legislation and support in the different markets are. There will definitely be different kinds of markets. Some will still remain more traditional. Other markets, as for example Thailand or some of the Nordic countries, are really in the forefront of having more than 50% of electric mobility already today. So it will be a transition period. And I believe in that transition period for us in Taiwan, for example, with cars like the plug-in hybrid, it will also be a transition for the consumer to get to know the advantages, because there's a lot of prejudice and a lot of bias that every electric vehicle is just heavy, and maybe I run out of range, and there's a lot of concerns. I think all of those concerns on paper are really already today not there anymore, but it's about experiencing it so that the people can really get into it. And I've already been working 10 years ago on an SLS electric drive with AMG, and already back then I knew that the driving pleasure can be absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, and already today we see in some of our more funny viral videos on the first 10 meters, a smart electric drive can be quicker than a Ferrari. This is not against Ferrari, it'll also be quicker than our AMG GT, for example.
When can we do some test drives in
Very
Taiwan?
soon.
Do you
Very
provide
soon.
any test driving?
Very soon, but the point is that those cars have other advantages. For example, the always torque that is always there, and it's the same on the scooters. It's fun to drive. You have immediate torque. You can have a very quick start, and you can be quicker than a racing sports car with a very small electric vehicle. So it's really about bridging times, bridging periods to experience and to understand it better.
Right. I know, Jeffrey, your fleets are powered by the battery, right?
Yes.
All of the 1,000 scooters, which is powered by battery, right?
Yes.
And do you have, do you see, or do you learn any complaint from your customer? Do you see any difficulties for electric scooters in Taiwan?
Yes,
because you are the first adopters of the e-scooter.
So I mean, the issues that scooters will see is very similar to the cars. Of course, cars have longer range or durability and such, but the biggest complaint is still, you know, the scooter itself could only go. Our scooter could only go 40 kilometers per charge.
Wow.
Right. So, and that's also why, you know, the slow adoption of electric vehicles, you know, the biggest issue is having to do with the range. But, you know, that's why sharing actually works wonderfully for this kind of situation, because for our service particularly, we don't actually have the users worry about the charging part.
Okay.
We provide a full-blown service, right? So the user only have to worry about getting from A to B, which is where they want to go.
Right.
And then if the vehicle goes out of battery, then we'll have our operations team go and take care of that. Of course, that leaves a lot of costs on the operator or on our company, but that's, you know, the reality is we want to provide a better service for users. We want to provide agreeing and convenience. We want to educate the users that, you know, this is the future. This is what should happen in the future. And then in the longer term, when the infrastructure comes in with help of, you know, maybe Delta and of course, you know, major international brands advocating the benefits of electric. Particularly, I love how you mentioned about the first few seconds being much faster, because even though our vehicle is a 50cc vehicle, ours have the same feeling when you ride on our vehicles. So when people are used to charging, used to electric vehicles and understand its benefits, then we'll also, and then also, of course, the infrastructure comes in, then we'll also have the consumers help us with that part, you know, so it becomes a win-win situation. But of course, for now, you know, we have to still educate the market and have people get used to that. And that's probably the biggest challenge we have in that regard.
I think it must a lot of people ask you, why don't you partner with such a scooter provider like Gogoro? They don't charge the battery, they just replace with the battery instead. And your answers?
Well, currently we're working with Kimco, which is also a very large player in Taiwan. I think in the longer term, of course, we don't want to say what would happen in the future, but of course, if there's a chance we work with Gogoro, of course, we will consider that option. But for now, like, we're both going with a battery swap solution.
Yes.
So, you know, again, I think the battery swap or charging, I think it works for an operator, for the sharing operator. Both technology is good, right? You know, for us, it's a matter of what is best for the consumer. So we selected the solution that is best for the consumer down the road. So earlier you mentioned which fuel technology is the best. It could be hydrogen fuel cells, it could be electric, it could be anything else. And that's also something then we will look at, and we make the decision for the consumer. And because, you know, for us, the most important thing is always to understand what is best for the consumer.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, and Texicos, I just talked with Kevin before the sessions that he wants to share with us his observations of what he saw in Chengdu. Right? That's quite inspiring stories about how they use the service provider use an electric car to provide their shared economy, right? Could you?
Sure. So like I think like last July, I went to Chengdu for a visit, and I was like trying out the local ride-hailing platforms. So there are two platforms that I tried. One, they provide all electric vehicles and very premium brands. So they allow you to like pick different electric vehicles, and then it arrives in like 5 to 6 minutes. And another platform is local electric car manufacturer. So they actually manufacture a lot of cars, and instead of selling it, they actually use these cars to build their own ride-hailing platform and hire drivers to drive those electric cars.
Okay.
So I think there's a trend that's in the future for ride-hailing platforms. The cars should be all electric, but from our current observation, electric vehicle in short term would be kind of hard to provide ride-hailing service similar to taxi, because like for taxis, the operation time is really long. They drive like 10 hours consecutively. So if you run out of battery, you cannot, for cars, you cannot swap out the battery very quickly. So in short term, it's not possible, but I think in like 3 to 5 years, I think when Mercedes develop new battery technologies, like we'll expect to see more of these. And then I think there's a research that I see from BCG in Boston. So they simulate when they replace all the cars in the city with autonomous electric vehicles. And they are able to, the result of simulation is that like they can reduce the carbon emission by like 60%. So that is very impressive, and I think that's where the future should go.
Abakiri, and we take a broader pictures, and just like RT said, Taiwan used to be a powerhouse of IT manufacturer. Do you see any chances Taiwan will be the tomorrow's biggest players in the automotive manufacturer?
Oh, biggest, right? You mean biggest, right?
At least top 3.
Okay. I think sooner or later we're gonna face a Coda moment in car industry. Why I say it's Coda moment? Coda is a very famous company that produced a film, but they was disrupted by the digital camera. The photograph industry was disrupted by the digital camera, but Coda noticed it, but it didn't do anything. So he was disrupted by whole industry. It was just like electric car. Electric car is a very different ecosystem compared with the gasoline mechanical system right now. There will be a new player entering to this ecosystem and not the old one. Taiwan, just like RT said, we are ICT industry basis company, and I think we got a lot of chance to do it by cooperating with like Benz or the other Tesla or the other car company, that we might have a chance to be maybe the top 5 component supplier in the future. But I do notice they're too challenging for Taiwan's car components. One is the mindset differences. Before, if we do a product, we do it in a very competitive prices and good quality that actually you can win the markets. But in the electronic car industry, you have to and you must to cooperate with other components and cooperate with the car company, because when we use electric car, we are not just only use the car. The car can we can easily get some data, the driver's data from this car, and that would help the component company or the car company to optimize their design and their products. So, which means this is a C2B process, not a B2C process as before. So the first thing is that we have to be openness to cooperate with other people, even your competitor. So we can get the quite a lot of data to optimize our products and to win the market. And the second one is we have to customer-centered, which means that before we are more product-centered, we make a good product. For example, the notebook, the IC chip that we can win the market. But in the electronic cards industry, actually consumer will be the focus and the center of this industry. If any car company or component, even the component company, can fulfill the customer's needs, I think they will fail.
Yeah. Marcus, you have something to add?
Yes, we've heard a lot about the Kodak moments over the last years.
Yes.
And I agree that there's a lot of disruption, but I believe the disruption is not so much coming on the electric mobility part, because still big manufacturers, if they're getting ready, they will still have an advantage of scalability and economies of scale because they're in the car industry. I think the more disruptive part, or the Kodak moment that you talk about, is really about companies coming in that use it, as we discussed yesterday, the car all of a sudden as the biggest mobile device. And that is really a little bit of foreign, a little bit of away turf for the big car manufacturers. So that has really been something that we've been focusing a lot. And there I'm looking forward very much to what we can bring in terms of the connected cars and the Mercedes Me Connect apps to really then have that chance that you guys already have today. Because we've been selling cars for 131 years, and we don't really have that chance to every day talk to our customers yet. But we will have that chance when everything around the car is connected to one app and an ecosystem around it. And I think that's really necessary to not be Kodak, and I think we're very much prepared.
Just please give Taiwan's component provider a chance to serve Mercedes. I think it will satisfy you.
Absolutely, there's already a lot of them.
Okay. And we probably have only 5 minutes left, and I think each of you have probably 1 minute to do some conclusion or wrap up. Could you just start from the RTs? Could you say something to our audience? What will happen 5 years later from now? That what's your scenario, or what's the pictures in your mind the mobility revolution will bring us?
Okay. Last year, the total sales market worldwide, that is 90 million units selling in the world. And about 1/3, which is 29.4 million cars selling in China market. And in China market, that is close to 1 million for the electric car. So that is less than 1% for the total market.
Total market, yeah.
And Taiwan is a small market. If we can catch up the trend for the next 3 to 5 years, I think that is a great opportunity for Taiwan. If we can build up the business model, the successful case, and then we can sell in that kind of experience to other countries.
Right.
So that is another opportunity for Taiwan.
Yeah, Toyota is our role model.
Thank you.
It's just migrate from IT to auto industry, which is really a role model.
Thank you again. We try our best.
Yeah. And Jeffrey, you have a word to the final words to the audience?
I think making a difference, echoing back to the talk of Mr. Tsai and with President Mayer earlier, making a difference is what, us entrepreneurs aspire to do, and that's why we started this mobility sharing service in Taiwan as well. And of course, we will hope that 5 years from now, particularly in Taipei, we might be able to reach maybe 10,000, 20,000 vehicles. We'd probably be serving a third or a fourth of the population in Taiwan, Taipei. Right, so and because of that, we will be able to reduce the pollution, be able to help with idle vehicles in the streets. I didn't really particularly mention that, but Taiwan have way too many idle vehicles sitting in the streets all the time, right? And sharing services is able to help with that.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I will definitely hope we have a much cleaner, smarter, and more convenient city as a result of a lot more shared services.
There will be a lot off for our government. So they are worried about air pollution very much recently. Kevin?
Sure. So when we started TaxiGo, we want to try to bring like shared mobility to Taiwan. It's kind of pity that Taiwan is kind of like falling behind on this trend because like for other countries like China and some Southeast Asian countries, they are already much ahead in terms of shared mobility, like sharing motorcycles and cabs and private cars. So we're trying really hard to catch up and provide our platform to Taiwan, and I hope like all of you can support us. Thank you.
Very good service. I've been the customer. So actually, TaxiGo, don't need to download the app. Just use your line, okay? Kiri?
For the customer, for the organ people customer, I think we are lucky. We got a lot of chance to choose when and how we're gonna move. We can take taxi, we can use U-bike, and for the company right now, I think it is an exciting moment for both of you, for the old one and for the new one, because you have a chance to get to understand what your customer really need and to build the product and service that really fit for them. I think this is a big opportunity time for us.
Right, a big opportunity and revolution ahead. Marcus, we need to do the wrap up. 1 minute.
Yes, I think what excites me most about the current times, and not only in automotive, but really around the globe, is that it's not only tough to predict what's happening in 5 years, but it's tough to see how the next 5 days are gonna go. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I think it was a very good round, and to have these kind of forums already shows how much things are going on, how much forward thinking is there to bring people from different brands, from different industries, and with different objectives together and make something great out of it. And that's also a sharing economy and something to look forward to. And I think Taiwan really will be leading, and I love to see all of those startups coming up. There's a lot of very exciting ones that really put Taiwan on the global map, where a lot of the big hidden champions have always been. So I'm really looking forward to see how we will develop and how we will help the global footprint from here.
Okay. Thanks for 5 distinguished panelists, and especially thanks for you staying here, and thanks for your attention. Tomorrow we have another session, which is the topic will be I think our official, which is administrative yuan. The Tang Feng will be here tomorrow, so make sure you guys be here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
See you tomorrow.
Thank you all panelists and the facilitator for the wonderful panel discussion. Of course, thank you all for participating with us at the Future Talks. And we will have the same session tomorrow at the same time at 2:30 p.m. right here at the Mercedes-Benz booth. And of course, please invite your friends, and please share the links as well, and tell a friend that we will have the live broadcast on Facebook fan page. We will be on our Mercedes-Benz Taiwan, and also will be on Business Weekly fan pages. So please tell your friends that they can stay tuned with our Future Talks online tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. And thanks for coming to the Mercedes-Benz Future Talks today. Tomorrow the topic will be autonomous. And please do come back to join us here right at Nangon Exhibition Center, or you can stay tuned online. You will have live screening on Mercedes-Benz Taiwan Facebook and also on the Business Weekly Facebook. 谢谢大家今天的莅临。那我们呢也要谢谢现在正在观看我们直播的朋友们。那我们明天呢同一时间在2点半的时候呢，也会有最后一场论坛的直播，会在我们商周的网页 Facebook 上以及我们的台湾宾士的 Facebook 上会继续的为你们直播，所以明天各位朋友我们现场以及线上见，谢谢大家，拜拜。